Ever since the first microcontroller board went on sale, one of Arduino's core selling points has always been how deep you can actually go with it. The depth you're willing to dig determines whether you end up blinking an LED for an afternoon or shipping a real product. Fair warning though, electrical engineering is hell, and I mean that with love. In this video, I'll walk through each level of Arduino mastery and give you a standout recommendation for what to actually build at each stage. So stick around to see each pick. Level 1, plug and play. At this level, the board practically builds the project for you. You plug it in, upload a sketch, and it just works. No soldering, no low-level setup, no fighting the hardware. Some boards you'll find in this category are the Arduino Nano, the Uno Rev 3, and the Uno Q, all running the same free IDE, all coding in C and C++. This isn't a bad thing. Easy entry points exist for a reason. Maybe you've never touched electronics before. Maybe you just want to see an LED blink and feel like a wizard for 5 minutes. What I chose to represent this level and recommend starting with is the classic Arduino Uno Rev 3. It represents level 1 perfectly because Dirital 13, high, hides every bit of complexity underneath it. No operating system, no registers, no multitasking, just one loop running forever. It's the most beginner-friendly board ever put on a shelf, and that's exactly why millions of people started here. Sure, veterans might joke that these projects are basically impossible to mess up, but for someone just starting out, that's exactly the point. Enjoy it while it lasts, though. This is the last level where electrical engineering is nice to you. Don't get too comfortable, because things start fighting back the moment you touch a pin directly. Level 2, getting your hands dirty. At this difficulty, the board finally expects something from you. You leave the safety of pre-written functions and start reading the physical pin headers yourself. Digital pins, analog pins, PWM pins, suddenly you have to know the difference, or your project just won't work. Some things you'll run into in this category are basic LED fades, potentiometer-controlled brightness, and simple motor speed control. What I chose to represent this level is a PWM-controlled RGB fade project. It represents level 2 because it forces you to understand that PWM isn't real analog output at all. It's a digital pin flashing on and off thousands of times a second, fast enough to fake a voltage that doesn't exist. It only has 256 steps of resolution too, which is why a slow fade can look slightly stepped if you look closely. For a lot of beginners, this is the first real aha moment, not just following instructions, but understanding what's physically happening on the wire. Nobody warns you that the aha moment usually shows up right after an hour of staring at an LED that just won't fade smoothly. That's the EE curriculum, baby. But the next level is where things start getting serious. Level 3, challenging. At this point, your code can't just assume it'll work anymore. Use delay 1000 in the wrong place and your entire project freezes for a full second, blind to every button press and every sensor reading until it's over. You actually have to understand timing now, not just borrow it. Some things you'll run into here are unresponsive buttons, missed sensor readings, and projects that feel laggy for no obvious reason. What I chose to represent this level is replacing delay with millis in a real project, something like a multi-LED sequencer that has to track several timers at once. It represents level 3 because it's the first time you have to think like the chip does, checking elapsed time instead of freezing to wait for it. For anything faster than the main loop can catch, hardware interrupts step in, dedicated pins wired straight into the CPU's core logic that can pause everything mid-instruction and snap back in microseconds. Nobody tells you that when you start, they just hand you an Arduino and let electrical engineering do what it does best, which is make you suffer quietly in a corner until you understand interrupts. This is where most people find their real love for embedded programming, because the reward finally matches the effort. Level 4, punishing. Up until now, maybe a bad wire meant one LED didn't light up. But here, one wrong connection, one missed ground, or one overloaded pin can take out an entire board. These projects demand patience. You have to plan your wiring before you touch a breadboard, not after something stops working. Some things you'll run into in this category are shared communication buses, sensor address conflicts, and boards that brown out under too much current draw. What I chose to represent this level is building a multi-sensor rig over I2C, an OLED display, a barometric sensor, and a real-time clock, all sharing the same 2 wires. It represents level 4 because I2C only works if every device gets a unique 7-bit address, and one collision silently breaks the whole bus. For faster, data-hungry sensors like a 9-axis gyroscope, even I2C isn't fast enough, and you're forced onto SPI's 4-wire setup instead, more than 10 times the speed, at the cost of double the wiring. This is the level where building becomes frustrating for some people, usually right around the 3rd time you've reflashed the firmware because 2 devices happen to share an address. For others, this is exactly where it starts becoming addicting. Electrical engineering really does have a sense of humor about who it breaks. Level 5, the register level tier. This is the level where EE stops being a hobby and starts being hell. I mean that affectionately, mostly. I gave this its own level solely because of its reputation. If you've ever tried to write directly to a chip's hardware registers, you already know what's coming. Cryptic errors, silent failures, and code that looks nothing like anything the Arduino IDE ever taught you. These aren't bugs trying to make you angry. They're forcing you to actually learn what pin did and dial were hiding from you the entire time. Some things you'll run into here are bit shifting, port manipulation, and the sudden realization that pin 13 was never a real thing to the chip at all. What I chose to represent this level and recommend attempting is direct port B manipulation. Writing this instead of this. It represents level 5 because it strips away every layer of abstraction between you and the silicon. One instruction, one clock cycle, up to 20 times faster than the standard function. The more you practice it, the more you start recognizing which register controls which pin, and the mystery box you started with in level 1 stops looking like a mystery at all. For a lot of builders, this is the perfect difficulty spike. Hard enough to demand real understanding, but fair enough that every mistake feels like it was actually yours to fix. Level 6, brutal. At this point, the whole selling point of the project is how hard it is to pull off. Losing isn't surprising anymore, it's expected. You can spend hours optimizing and still get destroyed by a memory limit you didn't see coming. A single miscalculated byte, a bad quantization choice, or one oversized model can crash the entire board. Some things you'll run into in this category are memory overflows, model files that are 1 kilobyte too large, and boards that simply can't run what you're asking of them. What I chose to represent this level is squeezing a TinyML keyword detection model onto a standard Uno, compressed, quantized to 8-bit integers, and pruned down until it fits inside a header file under 20 kilobytes. Smaller than this script, it represents level 6 because it demands near-perfect efficiency and expects you to master constraints most beginners never even notice exist. If you've never lost an entire evening to a single kilobyte, congratulations, electrical engineering hasn't gotten to you yet. But even at this level, there are boards that make the fight almost disappear, which is exactly what level 7 is about. Level 7, the final tier. This is the point where projects stop feeling like hobby builds and start feeling like real engineering. Only a small fraction of people who start with Arduino ever make it here. It takes serious practice, careful design, and sometimes years of iteration. Examples of things you'll find in this category are custom PCB layouts, chips pulled straight out of their development boards, and products built for actual mass production. My standout pick for this category is a full custom board built around the bare ATmega 328P, pulled out of its socket entirely, dropped into professional PCB software like Altium, wired up with its own crystal oscillator, decoupling capacitors, and voltage regulation. It represents level 7 because it runs the exact same code you wrote back at level 1 on the exact same chip, just built to survive in a real product instead of on a desk. What makes this level impressive is that it pushes past the limit of what most people think Arduino even is. It creates a community of builders proving that the hobby board and the commercial product were never actually different things, just different points on the same ladder. But for every person who reaches this level, there are thousands who never go past their first blinking LED. Nobody gets here without electrical engineering putting them through hell first. The goal is to become one of the few who make it out the other side.